Right. Okay, we're here with Max Rhead on this week's episode of Small Stages, Big Sounds. We're going to have a discussion about how Steelhouse came about. And what I'd like to find out is how Max decides really about the sort of thing that he puts on the undercard rather than the headliners. Does he have scouts out there to search these bands, or do they approach him? So that's the basis of this week's episode. So we're going to start off with some simple questions for Max. What inspired you to start Steelhouse, Max? A long time ago.
It does feel like a long time ago now. It's probably 15, 16 years ago. Myself and Mikey, my partner in crime. Obviously, we got backgrounds in music. We've played in various bands. Mike slightly more successfully than me, but yeah, we our love of music, and I had a production company, an event management company, from a design background. So we've always, and Mike's from a audio production background. So it just seemed logical that we would start. Just out of our love of music, we'd start some club nights, um, partly as an excuse for all the mates to get together and and rock out. So yeah, about 15, 16 years ago, perhaps now, we started the Steelhouse Club up at Ebervale Rugby Club, and right from the off, from the first night we did there, it was a roaring success. So yeah, we had some great bands there. We had Bernie there in the early days. We had The Answer, Ollie Brown. Some fantastic bands played early doors for us. We had Danny and Ben from Thunder down there, and then we had this silly idea then that, well, the original idea was just because it was going so well. Is just that for once in the summer we thought we'd move the Steelhouse Club outdoors onto the rugby pitch because it was held at the rugby club. And we thought that was the logical thing to do. Have a big knees up in the summer. If we could find one weekend in the Welsh calendar where it's sunny.
Good luck with that.
So yeah, we applied to do that, and yeah, got absolutely knocked back left, right, and centre from councils and every other body that didn't want us to do it. So it took us a while, and then we found a very obliging landowner, Mr. Howell Dukes, who has been incredibly supportive to us right from the start. I often think that he would have had no idea what to expect, with us descending on his farmland. But he was great right from the off. He was hugely supportive, and still is to this day. He's a big part, and his site is a big part of the character of the festival. So yeah, in a nutshell, yeah, just an idea to do a slightly bigger club night turned into an international rock festival on top of a mountain. Who'd have thought?
No, so you've already said about some of the challenges, like the local council.
Yes.
And are they still as uncooperative, or are they a bit more amenable these days?
I'd like to say after 14 years, it's getting easier, but they find new ways to challenge us every year. I don't entirely blame them for it. It's something incredibly unusual for the heads of the Valley region, and I think they have little or no experience in managing something like that. So yeah, I have a little bit of sympathy for them, but they could make our lives a little easier.
I mean, even I've noticed in the sort of 8 to 9 years that I've been going up there that it's changed.
Yes.
Yeah, in terms of the artists that you are getting there and various things like that. So how do you see it changing in the next 5 years?
Bigger and better, hopefully. I don't think we've got any major plans to, or in fact, I know our aspirations are not to, it's not going to be download or anything like that. The idea is for it to be a boutique festival because, as we know, classic rock music is a fairly niche market. It's something that we love, but
Yeah.
I understand that the wider world and the greater population don't necessarily see it in the same way. So there's a small but very passionate community, and that's what we want to cater for. So yeah, the idea is not to grow to be some monster festival. A couple more thousand people over the next couple of years would be fantastic, but that's about where we see it. It's more about improving the facilities year on year and making the experience, adding to the atmosphere and the experience that we already have, which is incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, well, like I said, I've been going in now since 2015.
Yeah.
I'm always one of the first ones to buy my ticket, so it's not a problem as far as that goes.
Good
My
man.
only My only biggest issue is it happens to be my grandson's birthday that weekend as well, so I got
Ah,
competing issues every week, every Steelhouxse Festival. But that's this is
yeah,
one of those things you've got to put up with.
it is. It's priorities. We all have things that we have to move around a little to make it happen.
So, what are the key lessons you've learned over the last 10, 11 years?
I think for me personally, I've had to learn to kind of relinquish a little bit of control of it. I think I was very guilty in the first few years, probably still up to this date, of keeping too much of it in my head and probably being slightly overambitious. But what we have now, particularly the last 4 or 5 years, probably post COVID, we have an incredible team of people who know as much about that site as me and anyone else, and they take on the responsibility. And in the last few years, it's become, it's always been a joy, but it's become easier, definitely, and it's become a much more. It's been devolved a lot of responsibility to other people. Obviously, myself and Mike take on the bulk of the responsibility of it, but we have an incredible supporting cast, of people who take 2 weeks off work to come and toil on a mountaintop to make that festival happen, and they make it what it is. And I think I've learned, to trust them all, and because they're incredible. They bring so many skills and talents to it. We have some very, very talented, special people who help us on the mountain. So I think for me, yeah, it's trying not to be so much of a control freak. I'm still battling
Well,
with that.
well, it's like everything. It is you a baby. It's difficult to give it up, isn't it?
It is. It is. And I think I always struggled with the fact that people were giving up their time, their volunteers, and they gladly take on the responsibility. But I always felt a little, I didn't want to put too much on people, so I would, myself and Mike would end up doing it ourselves, and Joe and Bob and a few of the others. But now we know that incredible core of people, they basically they make that festival happen and they make it run. It's a thing to behold. It really is. It takes me back every year, how much responsibility people are prepared to take on, and how much time and effort and love and blood, sweat, and tears and all that they'll pile into this crazy project that we put together.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can see why you think it's a crazy project. I mean, one of the biggest issues has always been around the traffic.
Yes.
Have you got any idea? I mean, it's improving year on year. In all honesty, the first couple of years when you were going, it was everybody turning right off the main road up the
Yes.
festival site. But now that roundabout at the bottom end of Com has come in useful. But
Yes.
do you see the potential for using the Marine Colliery car park site as a holding area to prevent a
We
traffic logjam?
No, we suggested that to the local authority after it was used for the ice many years ago. I was involved in that, and they used it as a park and ride base for that for the ice. So I didn't really see a problem with us, utilising that. But yeah, they weren't very receptive to that idea, and now there's actually planning permission has been granted on it. So I think imminently someone's going to be building on there. So yeah, it's not an option. It would have been perfect. I agree with you. Would have helped us out greatly, but not to be. Yeah, they strangely said that it wasn't suitable for parking. This was the year after it was deemed suitable for parking for the ice. But anyway,
Well, the thing is, I mean, they've also used it for a vaccination centre.
they have indeed. Yeah, yeah, and
I,
admittedly,
I
they put
think
a lot of
I
trackway down
wonder
for that.
I wonder whether they are thinking in terms of it being a permanent parking for the site facility rather than a holding area for the traffic to be held there to go up to the site in small convoys.
Well, yeah, we proposed a few options of park and ride or using it as holding, but as I say, it's had planning permission granted on it now. I think so. If
There you
I'm
are.
right on
Then it's
that,
not going to happen.
so unfortunately not. But every year we try and make improvements, and fingers crossed. You never know. There might be some improvements to that road leading up to the site in the not too distant future, and I think that'll make a huge difference because it'll it'll increase the speed at which we can get everyone on site. So that'll.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is, it's like everything, isn't it? I mean, it's like you had the living vehicles coming up on the Thursday night. You know, they come up
Yeah.
on the Thursday to reduce the traffic on the Friday, and people will still turn up there. You say that it's not open until 6 o'clock, and they'll still be there from sort of 6 o'clock in the morning. You know,
Exactly. People are very eager, mate. I don't, I can't deny that they are keen to get up on site. Got to
yeah,
applaud them for that.
yeah. You can't count for human behaviour, though, can you? That's the problem.
The reality is, though, if at someone else's festival, I'd be there early doors queuing as well. So I can't really criticise them
Can't
too much.
criticise. Well, like I said, I mean, I'm lucky. I mean, I'm like you. I don't live that far away, so it doesn't matter what
Yeah,
time I leave here. I'm just
exactly.
taking long to get there.
That's it.
Um,
But
so
we got some plans this year to alleviate that issue again. So yeah, it's improvements every year. So it should
well,
be, fingers crossed, it'll be a lot better this year.
I mean, the bottom line is it all costs money, you know, and that's
It,
part of the biggest issue. But it's getting somebody to do the job is another part of the issue.
well, and it's ownership as well, because we don't own the access road, and
Yeah,
obviously the council owns the highway, the Forestry Commission owns the access road.
yeah,
It's only once it gets up onto the farm itself that we have any control over it, and
yeah,
yeah, it's understandable that lots of government bodies haven't got a lot of budgets, and the budgets are undoubtedly best spent elsewhere.
mm.
Um, but yeah, we've got some plans for this year, so I'm quietly confident that people will see a huge improvement on that this year.
So you're talking about your volunteers. Are they predominantly from Eberville, or are they from the surrounding areas? Because I'm aware of the impact being that it covers sort of on the top of the mountain. It covers the entire both valleys, east and west
Yes,
valley.
I think it's the vast majority of our volunteers are from a 20, 30 mile an hour, 30 mile radius. Um, But there are people from further afield. We have some volunteers that come from Jersey. We have some people that come down from the north of England who joined the Steelhouxse family over the years, and they've been invaluable. It's about 100, 110, 112 people last year were volunteers over the weekend, and as I say, some of those take a fortnight off work
Mm.
to come and volunteer to help set up and sort of and take everything down and clear up the site afterwards. So we can't
Yeah,
thank them enough, and I genuinely think it creates a unique atmosphere because of the volunteer workforce. They are there because they're passionate about it and they want to be there, and they set the tone
yeah,
for everyone from the stewards, the car parking, the people in the box office, in the arena. It's something that we can't take any credit for that at all. It's something that's grown organically, and they are an incredible bunch of people that set the tone for a fantastic, friendly event. And it is a unique atmosphere.
yeah. It is. It is. And like I said, the volunteers themselves. There's nobody with a. You can go to some festivals, and some people wouldn't give you the snot off their nose, you know. But I mean, up there, everybody say if they can help, they will, and that's what I like about
Yes.
it.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, it is, and I can understand it. Other festivals, I go to several festivals every year across the UK. Some have a volunteer workforce, and you can tell the atmosphere on that. And it helps. Others, some of the monster festivals, you can understand. A lot of students, a lot of people, a lot of paid stewards that are there to yeah, partly for the experience, partly for to be involved in it, but also partly for a paycheck, and you can understand all those points of view. And it's horses for courses. I got no issue with any of them. It's just the way it operates with us is we keep it as a family friendly volunteer workforce, and I think we very much reap the benefits of that.
I mean, I
It's a yeah, partly for the experience, partly for to be involved in it, but also partly for a paycheck, and you can understand all those points of view. And it's horses for courses. I got no issue with any of them. It's just the way it operates with us is we keep it as a family friendly volunteer workforce, and I think we very much reap the benefits of that.
I've noticed over the years that the artists that you are having, they seem to be more current rather than sort of the older classic rock artists. I'm thinking in terms of people like Blackstone Cherry, which I love,
Yes.
and Miles Kennedy and artists like that, as opposed to sort of the Saxons and the Magnums of the world who are coming to the end of rightfully so,
Yeah.
coming
Yeah.
to the end of their career, because let's face it, we're all getting old. Hopefully, we'll all get older. It's finding those artists that still fit that classic rock genre that may give you issues in future now, as a thought, and it's just how do you decide on your artist lineup?
Well, in fairness, Mike, I can't take a lot of credit for that. Mike has a huge input into that. That's his area of expertise, particularly from his background in and dealing with agents and managers. And but Mike and myself, we talk about it endlessly, and we go to a hell of a lot of gigs. You may have seen us at many gigs.
I didn't see you last night.
No. After the weekend up at Planet Rock and then a Steelhouxse party, I unfortunately couldn't get down to Cardiff last night. But it's we go to lots of festivals, lots of events, and a lot of it, most of the time, it's to have a damn good time and not have the stress of running the festival, and somebody else can do that. But there's a lot of occasions where we've pinpointed or identified certain bands, particularly some up and coming younger artists. Obviously, the heritage acts and the classic rock bands we've undoubtedly seen numerous times. We know what they can bring to the party, and they are always great value. But some of the up and coming bands we're endlessly researching. We're in the office, 5-6 days a week. We look at all the every single submission that we have through to the office, either through social media or through email. We check everyone out. We look at their live videos on YouTube. We check out their numbers on Spotify, and if we think there's some potential there for us, then we'll make an effort to go and see them. We've got a couple of bands in the next couple of weeks that we've identified that we're going to see. We've already got some secured that have been announced, and some more to be announced as well. I'm really excited about this year's lineup. It's I think for me it's going to be the strongest lineup. This one is going to be special. It really is, and it's the right. But I think it's the right balance, the right blend between the old. I got to be careful now. I don't let anything slip.
No. At the end of the day, if you let something slip, I can edit it out because this is recorded.
No, it's
between
it's
me
always
and the gatepost, as they say.
It's always at this point when lots of deals have been done. Certain amount of artists have been announced. Others haven't been announced yet, and others are in the pipeline. So I have to keep reminding myself which ones are which. But from the ones that have been announced, I think there's a really good blend of kind of older, established, million-selling artists, and there's a great blend of younger, up-and-coming artists and more contemporary artists. And I know with the bands that we've got in the pipeline that we're about to announce, or very, very shortly, it's another good mix as well. And I think once all 21 bands are announced, January, February time, I think people will see the plan. I think again, we do it as a collaboration, but Mike takes on a big part of that. And what we end up with, I think, is always a good mix. And sometimes some of the most gratifying moments are when people say, "Never heard of that band. Came to see, I don't know, Blackstone Cherry. But I've never heard of some of the bands earlier in the day. Saw them on site. They're now my new favourite band, and we've heard that countless times, and that is a hugely gratifying part of this job.
The one that blew me away last year was The Warning.
Yes,
They were
definitely
incredible, absolutely incredible.
I think I'd hope, or we'd hope that we'll have them back in the next couple of years, and they'll be
Big
right
again.
towards the top end of that bill. I think they got something special. But
I'd
again,
like to.
there are a few like that over the years that have come through, that have started at the bottom, worked their way up, and I dare say there'll be a few more. I think there's some great young talent out there at the moment, and we're endeavouring to get them on the bill. And part of it is to make sure that there's bands there. If we support them, we hope they'll go on to bigger and better things, and then come back and they're further up the bill, and it all blends in with that. Getting those older established bands, some up and coming bands, and the ones that are established right now as well. So yeah, it's a mix, and it's a really enjoyable part of this time of year as well, is putting that lineup together. Sometimes it's frustrating, trying to get the deals done, dealing with the agents and the managers. But that's why I leave that most of that to Mike.
Yeah. The thing is, there's three letters missing from the word manager, isn't there?
What's that?
MIS.
Not on all occasions, but yeah, you may be right there.
Anyway, so given you were obviously heavily involved during the weekend. So what does a typical day look like for you on the festival weekend? Say the Saturday.
Well, do you know what? I've been thinking about that, and it's um, in years gone by, a typical day on the festival site would have been running around putting out fires, metaphorical, not physical,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, fortunately. And it would have been a constant, firefighting and juggling and plate spinning and every kind of metaphor you want to use. And it was adrenaline fueled, action packed roller coaster ride from opening the gates to cleaning up the rubbish. And but I have to say, the last few years, and it comes down to that, having that team of people. There's been times, and I have to say this carefully, but there's been times all across the festival weekend when I've been bored, and that's when I haven't had
Because
fires to
nobody's
put out.
asking you to do things. Yeah.
Yeah, a few times I thought I've gone deaf because no one's calling me on the radio. Um, there were previous years where I'd have two radios and a phone, and they'd all be going off at the same time. But you shouldn't tempt fate. But it's now at a point where we have so many generals up on that mountain, that take on a huge amount of responsibility. They make things run incredibly smoothly. As it grows and as it develops, there's always new challenges. Um, but what I've been able to do in the last few years, myself and Mike, is we've been able to enjoy the festival a lot more. As
Yes, I
in,
noticed I've seen you in the crowd a lot more.
yes, when there's bands that I've really wanted to see in previous years, there's been issues to deal with, or something backstage or in the arena or in the campsite that needs addressing. But it's definitely, the temperature of the whole thing is reduced. So I've been able to get out and enjoy some bands, and dare I say it, have a beer or two. Um,
Oh.
so yeah. So a few bands last year, enjoyed the sunshine, and it was it
Everybody
was
enjoyed the sunshine last year. Please can we put an order in for next year?
it's dealing with the Suns manager is and his agent is it's the most expensive booking on the mountain, it is. But no, it's it having the weather like that, which hopefully we get again, definitely adds to the whole atmosphere of the festival. Everyone is always in a great mood, and it's always a fantastic atmosphere up there. But last year was something special. It really was, and
Oh,
I and myself and Mike and all the team really enjoyed it. And the feedback
yeah.
generally from all our crew was it was their favourite. After 15 years, they're still really enjoying it, and it was their favourite weekend. So
Yeah.
hopefully that continues.
Because, like I said, I mean, I've noticed over the years. I mean, the first year was just the 2 days,
Mm.
but ever since it's been the 3 days, and I've noticed that you'd have one okay day, and then the heavens opened.
Yes, I always think I'm not greedy. I think an open air festival in the UK, if we can get 2 out of 3 days, then I think we're doing okay. And there's been many years where 2 out of the 3 days have been fine. Last year we were absolutely spoiled, and it was 3 glorious days. But yeah, like I say, I'm not greedy. 2 out of 3 days will do me every year.
As Meatloaf says, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Exactly.
So, like I said, next question to ask you. I mean, looking back over the whole period now, which is the achievement you were most proud of?
I don't think I'd be hard pushed to be able to pinpoint a single achievement. I just think the whole thing, just the achievement of having that incredible group of people producing an event of that scale and an increasing level every year, being able to bring in thousands and thousands of people, get them on and off site, fed, watered, entertained, um, and for the event to still be around, I think that's the biggest achievement. And for the fact that it's growing, yeah, it's difficult sometimes when in the midst of it to be able to step back and sort of take stock. But yeah, there's a huge amount that we're all very proud about delivering that kind of event, and I would say delivering it in that location. The heads of the valley. Mike and myself are both from Coombe and Ebervale. We're right bang on the heads of the valley. There's no secret that there hasn't been a lot of world class, high quality entertainment attracted to the area, and we were committed to doing that and bringing it. We had options. We could have taken it Cardiff down to Tredegar House in Newport, or even over the bridge, and we were offered a while back to take it down to London. But it's something we're hugely proud of to stage that kind of event in the heart of the Welsh valleys and the heads of the valley area. So yeah, I think that's the biggest achievement.
I'm a Beaufort boy as well, so there you go.
Good man. I won't hold that against you.
Well, I can look down on you from there. See, can't I?
The amount of football matches I played against Beaufort Colts.
So, last question then: if you could wish for any band still performing to play on the top of the mountain, would you think that would be?
Still performing. The reality is I've had some of my heroes on the mountaintop, and that's been incredible, hugely gratifying. I think anyone who knows me knows that I'm a huge Dio fan, or I have been over the years, and I think if sadly Ronnie hadn't passed away, I think there was a chance that in a year or two we would have had him playing on the mountain. That would have been fantastic. It would have been a dream come true. But to have Last in Line on the mountain was a real highlight for me. I'm a huge Y&T fan, so to have Dave Minniketti and those incredible pipes of his on the mountaintop was huge for me. And having Bernie and Neil Murray last year and members of Whitesnake, because I'm a huge Whitesnake fan. So yeah, I've already had a lot of my heroes up there. Who else could I? That is a difficult one. It is a difficult one. There are a few out there definitely, and we'll be working on them behind the scenes. Winger would have been nice as well. I was a massive Winger fan back in the day, and sad to hear that Kip was no longer planning on going out with a band. But yeah, there's a few out there, and there's still some legends out there playing, and we'll be looking at bringing them to the mountaintop if we can.
I tell you who blew me away last night was Skillet.
Yeah, actually, really, really good.
Really incredible. I mean, whatever they believe is different, but I mean, musically, they were superb.
Yes. Yeah.
Religion aside and everything, there was nothing religious in it at all. But musically, they were absolutely superb.
Brilliant. Well, like Blackstone Cherry. I know you're a big fan. I'm a huge fan of theirs, and it's a shame I couldn't see them last night. But yeah, when we welcomed them to the mountain a few years ago, that was a huge tick in the box for me.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a massive Motley Crue fan back in the day as well. To have John Corabi on the mountain a few years back was incredible as well. So yeah, there's a lot of ticks in the box. A lot of people that it does feel sometimes like myself and Mike, we put bands on the because we love them, and we hope that everybody else does, but partly we do because we can.
because it's what I want. It's my toy, and I'm taking it.
Exactly. There's 21, 22 bands on the bill every year. We can have a little bit of self-indulgence now and again and book a couple of bands that just because we love them. But hopefully it's everyone, like the likes of Y&T and Last in Line and Blackstone Cherry, is because everyone else loves them as well. So
I mean, the bottom line is if they're selling tickets in the area, wherever they are in the area, then those are the bands that you're going to sell tickets for anyway.
yes, exactly. They need to they need to have a fan base. They need to be still active. They still need to be current. It helps when they got new albums out and they got some visibility on the radio stations and that kind of thing. But yeah, there's plenty of them out there. So and again, we'll get that mix of some of those those rock stars and those the bands that have been around a while, and blend that with some up and coming acts, and it helps us keep it going.
I mean, last year was easy with regards to what you did for the Friday. You had a theme for the Friday. That was easy.
Yes.
Have you got any themes for this year coming up, or are you just going to leave it as is?
No, it's not. It's not so themed this year. No, and the idea is to build the Friday. To build the number of bands and the bands that play, and to make it an unashamedly 3-day festival. So and I think the lineup of the Friday this year, again, there's another band to be announced on that. It's going to be it's very, very strong. Actually, another 2 bands to be announced. So I think it was the right thing to do, and it was an incredible honor to be able to honor the life and the legacy of Bernie last year, and it was a fitting way, and to have the kind of blessing of his family as well to do that, and for them to be on site on the Friday was a very emotional and an incredible experience. But yeah, we don't want to be doing that every year. We don't want to be losing legends and doing that kind of thing. So it's the Friday now it's another day on the festival, and it's going to get stronger and stronger every year.
Because a few years ago you had like a Four Nations Friday.
Yes.
Where you had Ireland, Wales, Scotland, and England.
Yes. Oh, we were going to get them all to scrap. We're going to set up a ring in the middle of the arena and get them to have a scrap. But with the likes of Chris Barrett around, we didn't think it was fair for him to enter the fray.
You'd have to have Jason Momoa there to sort it out. And I think he'd be hard pressed.
I don't. With regards to the themes, I'm not averse to it. In fact, I'm quite a fan of a theme. And this year, that wasn't the plan. But I'm not ruling out if something presents itself in future, we might do something similar again. But we kind of modify it year on year, and see where the mood takes us.
Okay, well, that's all I'm going to ask, Max. And thank you for your time.
No problem at all.
It's been lovely talking to you. And,
excellent, Dave.
We'll have to do this again when the next announcement comes out.
No problem at all, mate. We'll
just let me know the date, and we'll work it from there.
Yeah, no problem. Brilliant, mate. Love to.
Because it'll be announced, so it's not a problem. Take care. I'm sure I'll see you at a gig somewhere.
Absolutely. Cheers, Dave.
Thanks,
take care, mate. Bye now.